Good evening. Melissa Johnson here for episode 25 of Melissa Loves to Talk. So excited it's episode 25. Today is January 10th, 2026. I am going to talk about the special election in Georgia. That's the main thing I'm going to focus on today, but I am going to talk about other stuff that's going on just to bring it up, just to tell you my thoughts about it, um, not waste a lot of time on it. But I thought I'd at least talk about it and share my perception of it and exactly what is going on. Um, I'm feeling okay. How about you? Um, so first, if by now you have not seen the video of the ICE shooting, that shows the body cam, please Google it and find it. It actually shows exactly what happened. There is also a video that is 3 minutes before the incident started. I just watched this about 20 minutes ago, and it shows what happened 3 minutes before the shooting, or the whole incident where he got out of the car and they were in front of the car and all that stuff. So then you can get more of a perspective on what was going on. Okay. I'll tell you what it shows from my perspective. Okay. So it shows Miss Good. She's in her vehicle. She's blocking traffic. At first, not so much. She's kind of pulled back. Then she pulls forward. You can see the traffic backing up. So she is blocking traffic. Technically, people can get around her. So I get where you could say, well, she's not really blocking because people can get through. But I am looking at it like people don't know what she's doing. So they're just sitting there. So she's technically blocking traffic. The traffic backs up pretty far. Hello, Cassandra. The traffic backs up pretty far. And then she moves back a little bit, it looks like, and she lets people through. And then she pulls back up. Meanwhile, she is honking her horn continuously, holding the horn down, being disruptive. Someone else around is blowing a whistle. I can't tell where they're coming from, but Cassandra, the woman that was shot by the ICE agent, that's who I'm talking about right now. So the video shows this is 3 minutes before the incident. So she's honking the horn, holding the horn down, being very disruptive, blocking traffic. There's people around her blowing whistles, being very disruptive. At first, nobody is being violent at all. But she then, of course, when the officer gets out, that's when all the craziness shows. The video that I watched, that was the 3 minutes before, it does not show anything but 3 minutes before. It does, I think, show he pulls up, he gets out, and it cuts off. Cassandra, I'll tell you that from what everyone has found as they research, she was a paid agitator. She was following them pretty much all day. If you watch the body cam video, I think Fox was actually showing it. They say, well, her wife, girlfriend, whoever she is, she's outside the vehicle. She's talking to the officer. She says, hey, we didn't change our tags. You'll see them later when you see us later. So by that makes it sound like they're going to bother them all day. That's what they're there for. Okay. So that's what she says. You can watch the body cam video. By now it should be anywhere you look. And then he walks around. He tells the driver, get out of the car. A paid agitator is whoever's funding these protests, they're paying them to come and actually protest, agitate, break things, whatever these people are doing. Depends on your location and how bad it gets. Some of them are just blowing whistles, honking horns, yelling, screaming. Some of them are throwing bricks. Now, that day they were hitting the ICE agents with snowballs. Okay. That is assault. Okay. Which is illegal. Okay. If you're in a snowball fight with people and you're throwing snowballs back and forth, not assault. If you're walking up to people and just constantly throwing snowballs at them, that is assault. Plus, they were also breaking their windows with the snowballs. Again, you can see the videos of where they're throwing the snowballs and they're breaking the windows. The original protest was against the ICE agents that were coming in, getting the illegals. The illegals were getting arrested because of all the fraud coming up in Minneapolis with the daycares and the SNAP and all that. So once they realized all these Somalis were stealing, they sent ICE in there to get the illegals out. And of course, the left hates it hates people that live here legally. They love the illegals. So they paid them to protest. Again, I'm sure they were not intending for stuff to go the way it went. I mean, I don't think so. I think it was just, let me harass them, let me yell, let me scream, let me hold the horn down. Sorry, could not think of the word. The horn down, blow the whistle, whatever. But they were throwing snowballs. You can watch videos from earlier that day. They were throwing snowballs at them. They were breaking out their windows. Okay. This is not peacefully protesting. I've never been to a protest that I went to with MAGA people. We weren't throwing snowballs at people. We weren't throwing bricks. We weren't breaking windows. We were standing, we were holding signs. That's a peaceful protest. Okay. So again, so the 3 minutes up to it, the video you can see, I just watched it about 20 minutes ago. It does just show she is in the middle of the street. She's blocking traffic. The traffic backs up down the road. Okay. Like I said, mind you, people can get through. So I guess that's why they're saying, well, she wasn't really blocking traffic because people could get through. Well, these people didn't know what she was doing. So the traffic was getting backed all the way up down the road. It stops when the officer goes up to the car. But you can see the body cam footage if you want to look it up. I know Fox was running it, so you could probably look up Fox and see the body cam where he tells her, well, first he comes up, he says, I'm not mad at you. I don't know what she's talking about. You had to have seen, I guess, a couple minutes before that. She comes around, her girlfriend or wife or whatever is videoing. And she says, oh, you can look at my plates. They're the same plates I'm going to have later when I see you later. Okay. Which means she's going to keep bothering them all day. That's their plan, is to be an agitator. Okay. So then he goes around and he says, get out of the car. She starts backing up. Instead of getting out of the car, she decides, let me back up. Well, it was icy. So she slips a little bit, or slides, or whatever we call it when we're in a car. I'm saying slip like you're walking. She's driving. So she's sliding in her vehicle, which if she didn't, she probably would have hit all the officers in the area or just other paid agitators. But because she was sliding and stuff, she was kind of stuck. I don't know if people know how the ice works. If you don't live in an area where it gets icy, you wouldn't know. But you're kind of stuck. Your wheels are spinning. So she couldn't go anywhere, or she would have backed into other officers, other people. And then she then goes forward, and then she hits the officer in the front because he's around the front. You can see his body cam. He hits her, then he fires. So she hits him, then he fires. Okay. So my perspective is, if someone hits me with their car, I would probably try to shoot them. Okay. Because she took off. Like, she wasn't going to stop because she hit him. So she would have got away with hitting him. Okay. Because if they mention the license plate, that means they probably had a plan to change the license plate at some point. which if she would have drove off, she probably would have changed the license plate. They may never have found her. So he shot her to stop her. Not necessarily, maybe not to kill her, but he shot her. Again, however you want to take it. Okay. I'm taking it from the perspective of me watching the video. I've watched 4 different videos now. Okay. The very first video everyone saw. The driver's side, he walks up, he's holding on to the car. So right then she shouldn't have moved. He's holding on to the car. When he says, get out, she should have stopped and got out or put her hands on the wheel, whatever. Okay. Again, 4 different angles. If you want to look all these angles up, do your own research. Don't take my word for it. That's all I'm saying about this matter. Again, I am not going to do anything to put myself in danger. The police says, stop, get out, stop, get out. That would have avoided the whole situation. Okay. And then 2 is ICE is allowed to be there. Okay. When there's illegals in this country, their job is to get them out. That is ICE agents' job. But that is not limited of their job. Okay. If I'm there and I'm in the middle of the ICE agent and the illegal, and I'm not letting the ICE agent through, I can get arrested also. Even though I was born here, I'm in the way, I'm impeding. So technically I'm breaking the law. I'm going to get arrested. That's why Americans are getting arrested. For all the people that are like, they're arresting Americans. Well, if you break the law, they are allowed to arrest you. They're not just there for illegals. They are officers of the law. If you're breaking the law, you're impeding them arresting illegals, they're going to arrest you. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I just wanted to let you know there were multiple angles if you did not know that, so you can do your own research and tell you my perspective of what ICE does. Okay. Again, you can do your own research, you can look it up, and you will find out ICE is allowed to do what they're doing. The federal law that you have to come here legally with legal paperwork. If you come here illegally, you're breaking the law. When you walk through the gate to get in this country, you've already broken the law. Okay. So what I really came on here to talk about is the special election in Georgia. Everyone by now should know that Marjorie Taylor Greene deuced out on her constituents in Northwest Georgia. Okay. She decided she wasn't going to finish her term. She was just going to quit as of January 5th. Okay. I worked on her campaign the other time she ran. I put out signs. I door knocked. I mailed letters. I know her pretty well. Not like she'd know my name. She does not know my name. She knew my face. She knew who I was. Okay. So I am upset with her because she could have just finished out her term. Why she's quitting, I'm not really okay. I don't blame her. Okay. If that's the real reason. If she's saying, well, she didn't want to put her constituents through it. She doesn't want to do this. I get it. 100% can understand. You want to get out. Deuces, get out. My thing is she quit before her term was over, which now Georgia has to spend a lot of money for a special election. Okay, because it's going to be an election right before the midterms. Okay, March 10th. Midterms are June. So it's literally 2 months before midterms, 3 months, 2.5 months, something like that. And then there's another election in June for midterms. So Georgia's now having to have money for an extra election that we wouldn't have had to have if she would have just stayed in her term. She could have just not ran again. And like, nah, I don't want to run again. We're not faulting you for that. We don't blame you. But the way you quit kind of hurts your constituents that you say that's who you're doing it for. You're not really helping us. You're hurting us. Because now we have 24 people that are supposed to be Republicans that are all fighting for one seat. Mind you, we have 2 Democrats fighting over the seat too. So instead of we had a nice cushy red seat, we could end up having a blue seat. Because Georgia, you have to have 50% of the votes. It's not majority. So there's another reason why I say she hurt her district, her constituents. She hurt Georgia, and she hurt the whole country, really, because I said her seat was a nice, cushy red seat. That district is the reddest area in Georgia. That's why she wins in 5 minutes. As soon as it closes, they call her as the winner because it's a very cushy red seat. And she left it and now is having her constituents pretty much fight for their lives to keep that seat red. Okay. So there's 24 Republicans, I'm going to say like that are fighting for this one seat to make it through the first, the primary. Well, not a primary. It's technically not a primary because I think it is a primary. Yeah. So it'll be a primary. Of course, if they don't get 50% of the vote, it'll be a runoff. So then there's another election that we have to pay for. Okay. So we have the one election that we're now paying for, the primary. Then if they don't get 50%, there'll be a runoff. This is how Georgia works. Mind you, I think it's stupid. 50 should be the majority. Majority should win. It shouldn't have to be 50. Like it could be 48 to 12. It's still a runoff because it's not 50, even though 48 is higher than 12. But that's how Georgia works. So there we have the primary that's now costing the District 14 to have to pay for. Then if there's a runoff, and then if there's the general, which would be, of course, the Republican and the Democrat. Sorry. Still will have a little bit of a cough. Again, feel fine. Just have a scratchy throat. Don't know. But so I'm going to show you the candidate that I'm backing because he does know my name and knows who I am. But not just because of that, is because he is in the Georgia Senate right now. And he is really the only one that fights for Georgia. Okay. I'll give you a fun fact that he just told me Tuesday when I saw him. He had a little fundraiser and I was there. And he said, fun fact, he said, how many, I guess, House representatives do you think read the Constitution? And we're all like, I don't know, 10. Okay. Mind you, they're in the House seat in the Georgia House. Okay. This is just the Georgia House. He said, how many do you think read the Constitution? No, he said the Senate. Sorry, not the House. I'm getting the seats mixed up. He's in the Senate right now, the Georgia Senate. He said, how many do you think read the Constitution, the United States Constitution? He said 2. 2 of the 99 Republicans, or 1 Republican, 1 Democrat. I don't know. There's 99 Republicans that are in the Senate. Okay. So he said out of however many senators we have, which I'm trying to remember the number. I think it's 170. Either way, 2 have read the Constitution of the United States. So you're representing the country. Well, not really the country, just the state, but you still have to follow the Constitution. Okay. 2 of them read it out of 170. How many have read the Georgia Constitution? him, he's the only one that has read the Georgia Constitution. How are they supposed to follow the Constitution and represent their constituents if they don't even know what the Constitution says? So that made me think, I'm like, I wonder how many in the US Congress has read the Constitution. I mean, can you guess? I haven't looked it up because I wouldn't know. They probably wouldn't even be honest. He was being honest. He was at the meeting. He told us. And he said, 2 read the US, 1 read the Georgia out of 170. I think it's 170. It's either 168 or 170. Either way, it's different because it's by counties instead of states like, the US. So it's a little bit different. Anyway, so when he told me this, I found it real interesting. And I was like, this is why we have sucky representation. They have no idea what the Constitution says. They have no idea what their rights are, what our rights are, what the laws are. And this is the problem that we're having in this country. Why wouldn't our representatives read the Constitution to know how to represent us with the Constitution? I'm wondering how many judges know the Constitution that want to say they're upholding the Constitution. You literally, when you get sworn in, you have to say, I am going to uphold the Constitution. You're swearing on a Bible and you don't read it. How do you know what it says? I probably know what it says better than people that are representing us in the government. Just a nice little fun fact. I'm saying all this to say the senator that's in Georgia that is running for Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat is Colton Moore. And I'm going to show you some stuff about him. Again, I haven't figured out how to split the screen, but I can put another screen up and show you it, but you won't see me. You can just hear me. I'm pretty sure this worked the other day. I did set this up all by myself, so it may not work. The other day, my son helped me, so I'm hoping it's going to work. Please, if it's not working, can you please send me a little message in the chat saying it's not working? Okay, so last year, well, I'll give you the backstory first. Okay, the backstory. March 2024, Moore was forbidden from entering the House chambers after making disparaging comments about late House Speaker David Ralston. Okay, not really sure what happened. While the Georgia Senate considered a resolution to name a building at the University of North Georgia a Ralston memory, Moore urged senators not to approve the name change and blasted Ralston's work as a lawyer and a politician. This body is about to memorialize, in my opinion, one of the most corrupt leaders we are ever going to see in a lifetime. And I see that it's not working. Not really sure why it's not working. Well, okay. I'm just going to leave me up and I'll just read it to you. I'm sorry. It's not working. I don't know why. Okay. So there is people making comments about that. I understand what he's saying. He's saying, why are we memorializing somebody that's corrupt? We don't want to, okay, he died, whatever. So, okay, so Republican House Speaker John Burns of Newington denounced Moore's remarks as some of the vilest that you can make about a good man. Okay, Speaker John Burns is attempting to arrest and block me from representing the 53rd District at tomorrow's Senate of the State joint session. So because he said this, they did not want him to go in and vote and represent his constituents. Okay, so on Wednesday, Moore said that he would defy the ban to attend Georgia's General Assembly's joint session. and Governor Brian Kemp's State of the State address. He said, "I'll never back down. I always speak the truth, represent the people of Northwest Georgia as their trusted America First senator." Okay. That Burns called him a tyrant, banned him, censored him, all this other stuff. Moore had previously been kicked out of the Senate Republican caucus after attacking fellow Republicans for not taking up a special session in 2023 to impeach Fulton County District Attorney Fani Wilson. Of course, we know Fani Wilson went after Donald Trump, and now we know it was all fake stuff. So he had a right to call for a special session, but they all were against him. So he said, "You're ridiculous. Why are, whatever. Okay. Now, I cannot pull up the video, which makes me very sad. I'm not really sure why it's not working. But you can go back and find it. But so he went to go and vote. Well, sit in the special, the State of the State. He went to sit in there. The House Speaker came out, pushed him, told him he was not allowed in there. He was banned. Then I think somebody's lawyer came over and then pushed him down on the ground, and then they arrested him. They would not let him in here. Okay. I'm going to tell you, he was elected by his constituents to represent his district. He had a right to be in there. Because of what he said does not ban you from stuff, because he didn't, what he said, he said was he didn't want the building named after him because he was dirty. He didn't say he deserved to die. He didn't say none of that. All he said was, I don't think we should be naming a building after someone that's corrupt. I'm not really sure how you feel about that, but I agree. Okay. I would not say, let's name a building after Joe Biden. He's corrupt, disgusting. I'm not naming a building after him. And that's me saying it. I have a right to an opinion. Again, he didn't say anything like he deserved to die. I'm so glad he's dead. He didn't say any of that. Okay. And again, he had been already told, we're not doing a special session for the impeachment of Fani Wilson. We all found out now that all the stuff she did, that she should have been and at least investigated. He wanted her to be impeached, but at least investigate it. That's all he was asking for. He was asking for her to be impeached, but you have to do an investigation to get someone impeached. So anyway, again, they push him, they throw him down on the ground or the floor, and they arrest him. Okay? Now, was Moore's arrest constitutional? Okay. So this says State Senator Colton Moore said he would return to the legislature Friday after troopers arrest him outside the House chambers on Thursday. State Senator Moore posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, from a hospital bed. So they heard him when they threw him down on the ground. He had to go to the hospital. Okay. And then this is what the post was. It says, thank you to all the patriots who have shown their support today. I have a constitutional duty and will be back the legislature tomorrow. So of course they let him out. Today they took my freedom and liberty away as I was fighting for your liberty and freedom. Republicans have been split on was this right or wrong. Okay, well, why is it not showing if it's constitutional? Well, okay, so this is the Georgia Republican Chairman Josh McCoon. He says, deeply disappointed that Moore was denied admission to the chamber and shocked that he was taken into custody. It was not only legal, appropriate to admit him in today's proceedings. It was simply the right thing to do. So, um, trying to see. It doesn't say if it was constitutional or not. I guess it says it somewhere. Okay, well, here's the lieutenant governor, Burt Jones. Whatever personal differences Senator Moore was with others, he is a member of the body over which I proceed. All elected 56 senators and 180 representatives deserve the opportunity to fulfill their responsibility to attend joint sessions of the General Assembly. There is real work to be done this session, and the focus should not be on delivering for the people of Georgia instead of personal grievances. I mean, should be on the focus. Okay. And of course, the opposite, the Democrats, of course, they're um while Courtney and I don't agree on much, the speaker nor the doorkeeper should have been allowed to prevent him. So this is the Democrats saying this. Okay. They're saying he shouldn't have been kept from going in there. Okay. Civil rights activist General Griggs agrees. It appears as though his rights had been violated because the Georgia Constitution is clear, which they don't read, so they wouldn't know, is quite clear on whether or not someone can be arrested during session. We can disagree politically, but legally, people are entitled to their rights. Okay. So I said all this to say is he literally got arrested to represent us. Who does that sound like? Okay. He literally got arrested exactly where he went to the same jail that President Trump went to. Okay. Went to the exact same one. You can look it up. He was in Fulton County Jail. You can see his mugshot. I found this on fox5atlanta.com is where I found this. If you want to watch the video, if you want to hear the interviews, because I didn't connect it correctly and I cannot show it to you, and I'm so sorry. But anyway, I said all this to say is I support him because of this. The other people running, I do not know any of these people. Well, two other people I do know that are running. And not that they're bad people. There's two that are running. As far as I know, they have not been in any kind of government job. Again, that's grassroots. I have nothing against grassroots. Again, nothing against that. A lot of our people are grassroots and I love it. Okay. But I'm saying that he will represent us awesomely in the U.S. Congress. Okay. We need people that are fighting for us. If you haven't paid attention, our Republican representatives are voting against us. We had 17 vote against or vote with the Democrats to pass the ACA. Okay. We all know it's not the Affordable Care Act. It's the Unaffordable Care Act. We don't want it. It's giving billions of dollars to insurance companies. We don't want that. This is what closed the government down for 2 months. Okay. We fought against it to keep it from being passed the first time. And now they've just passed it to the Senate. And 17 Republicans voted for it. So this is the problem that we're having right now with this country. Stop blaming President Trump. It's not his fault. Okay. The Congress is stopping everything because we have the Republicans that don't understand. We voted for them to vote with Trump. That's why they're in there. They're not in there for their own interest. Okay. So I'm saying this to say, I know that Senator Colton Moore will fight for us in the U.S. Senate. Congress. Sorry. So if you live in District 14 in Georgia, please, 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 on March 10th, vote for him if you want a fighter in there. Okay. If you remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene first got in that seat, she was a fighter. And again, not saying anything about why she did it. I'll be honest. Some of the reasons why she quit, I don't blame her. She did get hurt. She did get swatted 5 or 6 times. Okay. Which again, she didn't quit because of that. I think something happened to her son. I think her son got swatted. Something happened with her son, and that's why she said she's quitting. Okay. So I get it. It's different when it's you than it's your child. Okay. Again, it's whatever. Okay. I'm just saying this is my thoughts and my opinions. Again, like I said, I know him personally. He's from Dade County. He's you know, just an average person like us. He got into the Senate in Georgia. He wasn't not a nobody, but you know what I mean, a grassroots. He's not a politician. He's raising all this money. He's having, little get-togethers to raise some money. We were in this little building. It was how many was in that building? I don't know. Maybe it was like 60 of us. And no, that's right. I couldn't figure it out. It was like 60 of us, and we were eating pizza, chips, and cookies. That was our little fundraiser dinner. And he raised what he raised because it was just hardworking people, everyday people. That's who he's reaching out to. He's not reaching out to rich donors. He's not trying to get, celebrities money. He's talking to the voters, the everyday people like you and me. So that is who I'm supporting, and I'm going to keep, posting stuff on Facebook, probably Instagram, maybe TikTok. I'm not sure. I don't do a lot of stuff on Instagram and TikTok. I mostly just post my videos. But I want somebody in there that is an everyday person like me that's going to fight, because it's his rights that are going to be violated too if he don't fight. And that's why President Trump fights, because he lives in this country and his family, and he is affected by this stuff. I know you think rich people aren't affected. Maybe not right away, they're not affected, but eventually everyone's affected by communism. Okay? Unless you're just the person running the communism. Okay? If you're the person running it, like, Fidel Castro, Maduro, Xi Jinping, is that his name? People like that, of course, they're not affected by communism because they're the communist. But the people like us, you, me, okay, even millionaires are going to be affected pretty fast. You think a millionaire has a lot of money, they get taxed the crap out of, their money starts to dwindle. Their businesses get affected because we can't afford to go to their business. We can't afford to eat out. So these restaurants start closing down. There's the millionaires' money. Okay. So unless you're the 1%, the billionaires, the 1% up here, you're affected by communism. And eventually the billionaires are going to be starting to get affected because it'll just keep going. The money comes from somewhere. Nothing's free. So all the people that think, oh, these billionaires, they can pay more taxes. They can pay more taxes, but they already are. Okay? I know people think they're not paying a lot of taxes, but they are. There's a tax bracket. I don't know what it is. I meant to look that up. Like every 10 or 20,000, it's the next tax bracket. I can't remember what it is, but I know every time you go up a tax bracket, your taxes go up. Am I correct? I did a episode the other day about how the taxes started, how federal tax started. It was 1% to 3% when it started before 1913. And you didn't even have to pay taxes unless you made $4,000, which is a lot of money back then. Like, I wouldn't have been probably making 4,000 back then, so I wouldn't have been paying but at 1%. And then they decided, oh, we're going to make it go up to whatever we feel like people should pay. And that's how it all started in 1913. And now it's every tax bracket. Every tax bracket, it goes up and up and up. And like I said the other day, when I worked at Aldi, I was paying 25% of my paycheck. 25, maybe 30. No, I think it was 25 because I have dependents. So it was 25%. 25% of your paycheck going to federal taxes, that's a lot of money. Because then you still have to pay state taxes. Unless you live in Tennessee, there's no state tax. But then you still have Medicaid, Social Security. If you're paying 401k, that's going to come out. If you're paying your insurance, that's going to come out. How much paycheck you have left after that? Not much. Maybe 25% of your paycheck after that, it sounds like. So these are the things that we have to be making our representatives accountable for. Like, you can't just say everything's number one President Trump's fault. Okay. I'll be honest. I'm going to tell you exactly right now, the gas is definitely not his fault. I just went across town. Gas was $2.17. Where I live, it's $2.25, $2.30. Across town, 15 miles away. Why is gas over here $2.25, $2.30? Across town, it was $2.17. 10, 15 miles away. That's not President Trump. That's the people that are running those areas. That's the people running the gas stations. That's not President Trump. Especially considering I've seen people posting in podcast chats, their gas is $1.90. And then you have places that it's still $4. This is why we're like, oh, Trump's not doing anything. He is, because there's places where gas is cheap. And food prices are the same. Okay. I go to the store. I've noticed prices have come down a lot. Are they going to ever be where they were before COVID? No. No president can get in there and probably get them back. Okay. Because number one, a business is not going to lower it like that. Why would they? Think logically, okay? I'm a business owner. I'm charging $9 a pound for this beef. Why in the world would I make it $5 when people are paying $10? They're paying 10, they're going to keep paying 10. Why would I lower it to 5? Think about it. You're a business owner. This is the way you would think if you were a business owner. You're thinking as a consumer. Like, why don't they lower the price? Why would they? You bought that beef when it was $10. That's your fault. You shouldn't have been buying it. I haven't been buying beef. I buy it very rarely. And I'm going to tell you, there's a place called Food City, and they have 5 for $20. That's where I buy my meat. So it's not high quality, but we aren't dead yet. Because I'm not paying $10 for a pound of ground beef. I didn't buy ground beef for $10 a pound. So people that were doing that, they're the reasons why the prices will not go down. Because if you're paying for it now, you're going to keep paying for it. If people stop buying it, the price will go down. Same thing at restaurants. They're not going to lower the prices because people are paying $13 for a value meal. Why would they lower the price? You're paying $13. I don't go out to eat because I'm not paying $13 for a value meal. If I go out to eat, it's Taco Bell and they have like $6 boxes. That's what I buy. Or I go to the Cookout, which we haven't even went there in a while because they went up to $8, but it's still a whole box for $8. If you have a Cookout by you, go there. I'm going to tell you, they have almost the best deal in town. You can get a whole meal with a drink for $8. And it's a meal like a cheeseburger, and then you can get, like, I always get a spicy chicken sandwich. But I'll say a spicy chicken sandwich. I usually get a quesadilla. You can get chicken, cheese, steak, and then I get hush puppies and a drink for $8. So to me, that's a good deal to me, because you go to McDonald's and it's $13, $15 for a sandwich, a drink, and a fry. So again, yeah, like supply and demand is the same thing. Supply and demand is affecting the houses right now. That's the biggest problem with why housing is so expensive. And I'll tell you why. 30 million illegals are in this country. That's why housing is so expensive. And honestly, that's a lot of the reason why groceries are higher too, is because of all the fraud in the SNAP. Just honest. Okay. So we don't have enough housing, so they can jack the prices up. Again, where I live like on the line of Georgia, Tennessee. So I'm in Georgia a lot. Georgia is, I only go in Tennessee for certain things. Georgia, building all kinds of houses. I mean, everywhere I turn, there's a new development. So houses are way cheaper in Georgia than in Tennessee. FYI, if you're looking to move, okay? Housing is so much cheaper in Georgia than Tennessee to rent or buy. So there's the reason. Everyone wants to say President Trump. Not his fault. Okay? We can say it all day. I'm going to tell you, main reason is Democrats vote for policies that hurt us. They let 30 million, 40 million, however many illegals came in 4 years. That hurt us. And all the fraud. Watch the news. You can see all the fraud that's being uncovered. Daycare centers, SNAP, feeding programs, senior centers. They found some in senior centers now. So not only are they not caring for children, they're not caring for seniors. They're just stealing all the money. So these are all the things that hurt our economy. For all the people that want to say President Trump, it's all his fault. He only controls certain things. Okay. I saw a good video, I think it was this morning, and they were like, let me tell you what the president's job is. Keep American citizens safe. Boom. He closed the border. 2, run this country like a business. Boom. That's what he's doing with all the trade deals, the tariffs, the oil. That's a business. That's really what a president's job is. All these things that the president think they're supposed to do, that's not. Because we had all these presidents that want to tell people, talk politically correct. Hey, what about, we got to make LGBTQ, XRV, whatever the letters are nowadays, feel safe, don't hurt them. Women got to play with men in sports. That is not a president's job to tell people to do all this stuff. Look it up. You can see what his job is. But people just want to think, because we've had these presidents do this for years. Obama started it. He started the whole thing with the politically correct. And he's the one that hurt insurance, your health care. Think about when it started and how bad it got. You can, again, look up the statistics on how insurance went from 2009, we'll say. Okay. He got elected, 2008? So we'll say 2009, how much insurance rates were then, and then when he got out of office. I mean, he was literally fining you for not having health insurance. Okay. Your choice if you want to have health insurance or not. Maybe you can't afford it. Well, now you can't afford the fine either because you couldn't afford insurance. How are you supposed to afford the fine? This is why we fight like we do, because people just don't understand how the economy works, what each official's job is. Number one, you don't even know what your representatives are supposed to do. You don't know what the president's supposed to do. You don't know what the mayor's supposed to do. You don't know what the governor's supposed to do. You don't know the job of ICE. You don't know the job of the National Guard. Sorry, had a mind block. You don't know all these jobs, what they're for, what they're supposed to do, and you just get out and protest, yell, scream, make videos. Guess what? You can pick your phone up and literally say, "Hey Siri, hey what is his name? Grok? Is that what it is? Yeah, Grok. I don't use any of it. What's the job of the President of the United States? What's the job of the House of Representatives? What's the job of ICE?" Wow. Real easy to do your own research instead of listening to all the people that lie constantly on mainstream media. It's not that hard. It'll take you 2 seconds. It'll start scrolling, all the things they're supposed to do. And then the best thing you need to do is read the Constitution. I haven't read the whole Constitution. I've been reading bits and pieces there. I know a lot of it from school because they used to teach it in school, at least the first 10. You know, the Bill of Rights, that was what they taught us in school. Now they don't teach you anything because they don't want you to know your rights. They want to be able to take your rights. So when I was in school, I had to know the Gettysburg Address and be able to recite it. We had to do the preamble, and we had to know was something else I can't remember. It was something else we had to know. Oh, all the states and the capitals. And we had to say it in front of the class. We had to learn it. You know, that was social studies. You know, it's what they called it back then. I don't know what they call it now, but it was social studies. And I mean, that's maybe how I started liking it, because social studies was my favorite class. I love that class. I love history. Maybe that was why, because I was learning stuff that I should know. Maybe I was getting prepared for this. I don't know, but it's not hard to do. Again, your phone, back in the day, I didn't have Google. I didn't know all this stuff. I had to go to the library and read books. Now we can just Google it or whatever you use. DuckDuckGo is what I try to use. I try not to use Google. I try to use DuckDuckGo. Again, the only thing with DuckDuckGo is because it is safe, it does block a lot of stuff. So sometimes I have to go around DuckDuckGo because of that, because it is safer. It doesn't have pop-ups. It doesn't have all the stuff you shouldn't be looking at, you know, stuff like that. But so I'm hoping this helps someone today. Please, 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 if you're in Georgia in the 14th district, please get out and vote March 10th. Please, please, please. We have lost a lot of elections this past year after the presidential election because people are not getting out to vote. 20% are getting out to vote. And people like Mondami cannot win. Please, please. You can see already what he's doing to New York in 2 weeks, 10 days. He's only been the mayor in 10 days. He's already talking about taking people's property. This is what communism does. We don't want this coming to this whole country, to my city, your city. You don't want it. Believe me. I mean, 10 days in, well, really 8, because they started talking about it a couple of days ago. They've already said buses were going to be free. They raised the prices of the buses. They raised the subway price. They're doing all this stuff. And now they're trying to take our property. Well, not our property. I don't live in New York. Thank the Lord Jesus. The property in New York. They said, when you decide you want to sell your house, you have to offer it to the government of New York City first. They have 3 months to say whether they want to buy it or not. Now, mind you, when they buy it, they're buying it with your tax money. So you're pretty much, they're using your money to buy your house. Okay. So that's that. Okay. Say they're not interested in that property because of the place it is in the city. It's not a good property. It's not a good area for them. They don't want it. So then you have to offer it to a nonprofit who is also going to purchase that house with your tax dollars. Okay. Again, then you have to wait 3 months before you go to the next person, which would be a person like me and you. I'm going to sell my house to a regular old person that's going to use their money, not my money, their money. So this is what's going on. This is how it works in communism. Okay. Research other countries. Ask people that lived in these countries that fled from these countries. That's why they fled from these countries. They didn't flee a country that was communism to come to a country that's going to be communism. Kind of dumb. So we want to get out and vote. Republicans, please keep these seats red or flip these blue seats red. Because if we lose the midterms, this country is going to get bad. Okay. We're going to have lots and lots and lots of problems, starting with the seat that's open. Right now, there's a seat that's completely empty. It's just sitting there. Marjorie Taylor Greene's not sitting in there anymore. So we want her seat filled and keep it red. So please get out and vote March 10th. And please vote for Colton Moore. Again, I'm just telling you why I think you should vote for him. You can also do research on all the other people that are running and decide on your own. But I think a person that's getting thrown down on the ground and arrested because he's trying to represent us is somebody that deserves our vote. So that's all for my episode today. I really, really appreciate you watching. Please like, share. If you can comment, that would be great. I've had a lot of comments today. I'm so thankful because that also, we were talking about this earlier, Cassandra, is it adds an algorithm. So it'll start pushing it and showing it to more people. The more likes, the more comments I get. Again, I'm not doing this to be famous, which would be great, but it's more for people to get knowledge, for people to understand how things work. Again, some of this is just my opinion. It's not always truth. The stuff I talked about today, again, you can research if you think I'm not telling the truth. Okay. The only thing that I had a comment about was what happened with the shooting. That again was my perspective of the video. Everything else is truth. You can look it up. That's all I'm saying. And draw your own conclusions. It's a free country. I want you to have your free thought, your free opinion. You're allowed to do that. But facts are facts. You can't make facts be something they're not. They're facts. So because you don't believe them doesn't make them fact. It's just like the Bible. Because you don't believe in the Bible doesn't make it fact. It is fact. It's truth. You can't make it be something it's not. So that's all I have to say for today. I thank you. I will be on here again tomorrow evening. I am putting out signs tomorrow if it's not pouring down raining, because it's been raining for 2 days. I am planning to meet and put out signs for Colton Moore. I should be back here by 5 o'clock, depending again if it's really bad weather. A lot of the roads are flooded here because that's what happens in this area. If it rains, it floods. So my plan is to give out signs and be able to do this tomorrow. I have no idea what I'll be talking about. I literally had no idea to 30 minutes before I started what I was talking about. I honestly went on social media and just looked at what people were talking about. And that's what I figured I'd talk about. Besides Colton Moore. because I just really, really, really want a really good person in that seat because we need the representation. Because in the US um, House, they represent everybody, not just Georgia. They're representing everyone. And these people that get in here don't realize that. They're representing the whole country once you're in that seat in the House or the Senate. So just be wise. If you want to pray about it, do your research, whatever. Please don't just say, I'm going to vote for somebody because I like their name. I vote somebody because they're pretty. I'm voting for someone because they have a nice car. Whatever. People vote like that. It's absurd. Oh, they have a nice personality. That's why people don't like Trump, because his personality. I love his personality. But anyway, so thank you. You have a great evening. Please like and share. Please comment if you agree, disagree with anything, if you have any questions about it. Again, most of the people that have been commenting have my personal cell phone number, so you can send me a text if you have any questions about what I talked about. And also, you can send me messages in Messenger if you don't have my phone number. And I thank you so much for watching, and you have a great evening.